God has firstborns. Those who open the door for others. Those who pave the way for others to follow. By carrying their burdens and interceding for them. In the family, God has firstborns. Now, the natural firstborn of a family might not necessarily be God's firstborn in that family. Sometimes, not necessarily the firstborn naturally, but spiritually. You can be the lastborn or the secondborn naturally, but spiritually, you are the firstborn. And I'll show what that means. In other words, God places the burden of others on you, counting on you to break through so that others can break through after you. This is a principle in Scripture. To intercede for them and to preserve them, so to speak. Such was Jacob. He wasn't the firstborn, right? Esau was the firstborn naturally, but he became the firstborn, and it was clear why he suffered. Firstborn used to suffer. Such was Joseph. He was the 11th born, but spiritually speaking, he was what? The firstborn. That was why he went ahead of the rest to preserve them. It's a principle. And he suffered. So even though he became the king at the end of the day, but we see that it was priesthood that led him there. It wasn't the natural firstborn, but spiritually he carried the inheritance of the family. And even in natural families today, there are such people, and they might not necessarily be the natural firstborn. Sometimes they are. Such was David. Which born was he? Lastborn. But he was what? The firstborn spiritual. They were spiritual firstborns, even though not natural. In other words, they are called to be the priests in that family. A family may be suffering generational curse or a demonic siege, and everybody has become a victim of that siege, of that curse, a demonic pattern, an unfortunate pattern in the family, and everybody is a victim of it until the firstborn arises as a priest over that family, who functions as the firstborn and opens the way for others to break out of what they have broken out from. So there are firstborns who break through first by being priests so that others can break through. Moses was a firstborn. Jesus was. You can say that Moses was the first Jew to be free, and that was because he had the destiny of a deliverer. So firstborns are like deliverers. They bear the burden and break through so that others can follow. They are pace setters. Jesus was also a firstborn. The Bible called him the firstborn amongst the new creation. Jesus too got born again. I hope you are aware. Don't know. He carried the sins of the old world and he entered the grave and came out. That's being born again. Because that's the same thing that happened to us. Only that he went before us. He took us in and brought us out. So he's the firstborn amongst. So that means he was born again, being a man. Now, Satan hates firstborns. He hates firstborns. He hates firstborn and he goes for them because he knows that they have the calling of a deliverer. And if they understand their priesthood, they will remove many from his bondage. So that is why firstborns are essentially priests. When you read about Jesus is a priest. One of his titles is that he's a high priest. He's making intercession for us. So you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. And we also know that he's the King of Kings.